Hello everyone, semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. Today we're going to talk about cravings and how to crush them. But first let me start by saying if you're new to the channel, welcome. I am glad you're here. I'm not normally sitting here in the church kitchen talking to you. I'm usually out there walking around, but it has been so cold here that I don't know what to do. I mean, I fell short on my steps again today. I started to walk around. It was my joints were fine, and then I came around the corner of the building back there, and that wind hit me, and it just cut right through me because it got up to about 50, 52 degrees today, but the wind made it. That wind felt like it was 30 degrees, just cutting right through me, making my joints ache. So here I am back inside. It's actually quite late. This is much later than I usually record. It's, yeah, it's coming up on 10:30 now because I had, no, it's 9:30. Because, of course, there was church tonight, and I kept waiting for the wind to die down so that maybe I could go outside and get some walking in and record a video outside, but it just didn't happen today. So anyway, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Those of you returning, I'm glad you're here as well. Couple of quick things. You're, of course, seeing this on Thursday, which is tomorrow. And tonight is the Zoom call. Feel free to jump in on that. Just drop down in the first link in the description, or the little button down next to the subscribe button is the join button. There's no certain level you have to join at. Everybody's going to take part in the Zoom call. That's okay. I mean, so far it's just been me and one other person, and we'll see what happens. You know, I'm going to keep doing it because I feel like I got to offer something for the donations that people are giving me. And one of those people that gives me a donation every month, I wanted to make sure you guys were brought up to date. Tampa Jan. Be sure and say hello to Tampa Jan. She is, provided everything goes well, Thursday and Friday. Friday afternoon, she's going to be released from rehab to go home. Because, you know, the last time I updated you, she'd gotten sent back to the hospital for a little bit a couple of weeks ago, but I got a nice email from her today that said she was doing great. She actually got up, and I forget exactly how far she said she walked, but she got up out of bed by herself and walked like 27 steps. It was either 27 steps or 27 feet, but she got up out of bed and walked without assistance from the other people. So they are probably going to let her go home on Friday, which is great news. So way to go, Tampa Jan. We're all pulling for you here at the channel. Everybody drop down in the comments and give Tampa Jan a big attaboy, or attagirl in this case, for doing so well in her rehab. We're looking forward to seeing her back home again. But a quick note about yesterday's video, the exercise video. One of the things I wanted to remind you all of, because even though those are easy exercises, and they're very scalable, I mean, you can change the angle that you're at to make it harder or easier, but remember to fix your diet first. You're going to want to, you know, make sure you've got your diet adjusted correctly, and that is going very well. And your body will let you know when it's time to start exercising. You know, because I didn't start walking until I was 4 months into this thing. But yeah, your diet, your body will let you know when it's time to start exercising. So, you know, don't try to change it all at once. Don't say, oh, I'm going to start it all tomorrow. I'm going to start the carnivore diet, and I'm going to do all these exercises, and I'm going to do this and that. that's an awful lot of stress on your body all at once, because losing fat is hard on your body. And that's one of the other things we're going to talk about here when we get down to it. But first, let's go ahead and talk about those cravings, because that's what you tuned in for. That's what was in the title. Let's go ahead and talk about those cravings. It happens to all of us. We'll be sitting there in front of the TV in the evening, which is when we used to have chips or popcorn or whatever, and all of a sudden we've got this craving for something. Now, the very first thing I'm going to suggest to help curb those evening cravings and squash them out altogether is make sure you're eating your evening meal until you are comfortably stuffed, you know, meat with the associated fat. Make sure you're eating enough. Because, you know, we've talked about this many times on the channel. One of the biggest problems people run into that causes other problems is they're just not eating enough. So make sure you're getting a good satiety signal off of your evening meal. And that should keep most of the cravings at bay. For those other times that, you know, you've had plenty of fat, plenty of meat, you know, you were stuffed when you pushed away from the table at 6:30 or whenever you finished your dinner. But now it's 9:30, 10 o'clock. You're about ready for bed, but you're still watching TV, waiting on the evening news to come on or whatever it is that you're doing. And you're like, I need a little something. That's mostly just habit. The first thing I try is I just take a drink of water and wait 10 minutes, see what happens. Because most of the time those cravings will pass just by drinking a little something. If that doesn't do it, go ahead and get a pinch of salt, put it on your tongue, and don't wash it down right away. Let the salt dissolve in your mouth, and then take another drink of water. Speaking of taking a drink of water, this is not water. This is coffee tonight. I know, coffee at 10:30 at night, dumb. Or is it 9:30? 9:30 is what I decided it was. But this time change has my body clock all screwed up anyway. I've been getting tired during the day and taking a little bit of a nap. And of course, taking a nap during the day means I don't fall asleep till 2 or 3 in the morning. And then I end up sleeping till, well, what should be 9:30 in the morning, but thanks to the time change, it's 10:30, which means the day is almost done by the time I get up. It's just crazy. Have I mentioned I don't like the time change? Probably almost as often as I've mentioned I don't like the weather down here right now. And I'm seriously considering not coming back. Came this close to pulling the trigger on a land deal down in Arizona today, but decided I'm going to wait. I got to get home first, make sure I've got everything in order before I start making deals. Because once I get home to Omaha, if my truck craps out, it craps out. My mechanic's there, I can eventually get it fixed. And, you know, right now I just don't want to spend anything until I actually get home to Omaha, because if my truck craps out halfway between here and there, I'm going to have to come up with something on the road. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. It probably won't happen, but you never know. So anyway, but I'm came really close to buying a chunk of land down in Arizona today. But okay, so you've put the salt on your tongue. You've waited 15, 20 minutes, a half hour. That still didn't work. You decided to get up and take a quick walk outside or walk around the house a little bit, just get just a little bit of light movement in, and nothing is working. This is where a little bit of prep helps. If you really need just a little something, keep some brown butter bites in your fridge and have 1 or 2 of those. The fat will probably keep you from doing anything really stupid. But if you're truly hungry, grab your fridge bacon, which is, you know, that pack of cooked bacon you keep in there, or a couple of meat cookies, hamburger patties, or some boiled eggs, and just go ahead and eat. I mean, if you're really, really hungry, go ahead and have another meal, but don't just nibble at it. Eat it like you mean it, so that the next morning you're not immediately back to looking for something to eat for breakfast, because you should still be full from the night before. I really think making sure you're getting enough at dinner time will help the most. I think most of our cravings, especially those that happen in the evening when we're sitting in front of the TV, is more habit than anything else. And if we are aware that it's more habit than hunger, then I think that will help us get through. Sorry, I burped a little bit there. I had a really big, not that big. It was a pound of ground beef, 2 cans of tuna, and a little bit of sprinkled cheese. That's what I had for dinner tonight. So good. I know most of you think that's gross, but it's actually quite good. You know, well, I've talked about it before. The tuna soaks up most of the grease out of the skillet, so it makes cleanup easier. You don't have to add extra fat to it because you're already soaking up the hamburger fat with the tuna. It's wonderful. But anyway, that's what we're going to talk about with the crushing those cravings. One other quick thing that I want to talk about this evening, because I see a few questions about it. There is, stalls or pauses in weight loss. You know, you get the questions, wow, I started off great. I had, the first 2 weeks I lost 20 pounds, and now it's been 2 months and I haven't lost a thing since. Well, these pauses are natural. If you stop and think about it, the body, ancestrally, when it didn't get food or the wrong kinds of nutrition for an extended period of time, it went into, not starvation mode, but conservation mode. So if you're eating just 2 meals a day within a 6-hour window or something, your body might think that, hey, we're coming into winter or something, I need to start storing up. That's one thing that can happen. And the other thing that happens is we don't get to decide what our body heals. That initial rush of inflammation gave us that 20-pound loss really quick and easy. There was probably some fat in there, but most of that was probably inflammation, inappropriate inflammation, getting flushed out of the system. But then the body will decide when it's time to fix something else and when it's time to metabolize more fat and get rid of that and use that for energy. I hate to keep going back to Miss Hogan and her story, but if you go back and look at her story on her channel, she not only didn't lose weight, she gained some weight over the first 6 months. And then once her body was finally healed, she finally got enough nutrition into her that all of her cells were like, oh yeah, I'm stuffed now. Thanks, boss. Well, then the weight started to drop off. But I guarantee you, anybody that's lost a significant amount of weight, their weight did not just go down like that. It came down a little bit and rested a little bit. And it came down a little bit and rested a little bit. Then it went up a little bit and then it went on down some more. And the general trend is down, but there's a lot of little peaks and valleys in there. So don't stress about it. Don't get upset with yourself. Don't starve yourself to death because you think that fasting now is the only way you're going to lose the rest of that fat that you're trying to get rid of. That's not it at all. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this quick little sit-down video. Hopefully I can get it to upload. I've been having a little trouble with that the last couple of days. Yesterday's video was a little late coming out because I started it the night before and it still wasn't done at 2:45 in the afternoon. I don't know what's going on, but that's another thing I'm looking. I enjoy my time down here. I love it down here, but I am ready to be home where I have gigabit internet, and instead of taking all night to upload one of these videos, it takes about 5 minutes. I like being at home for that. But anyway, that's what I got for you today, guys. Have a great day. Don't forget to get out there, be 1% better today. I will see you tomorrow.